Good afternoon. Just realised I didn't put the brake on as I sat down and kicked the brake. Hope lots of you are here for the exciting new launch of our latest release of stamps. So if you are watching, fingers crossed the comments are going to start to come through. Again, this week I still haven't managed to work out how to stop my phone and the iPad linking. So if I do the do not disturb on the phone, then the iPad gets the do not disturb and we don't get to see who's joining us. So if you are there, please feel free to give us a comment so that we know that you are here. So today I'm endeavouring to do a couple of cards and also with our brand new releases, and obviously show you the new releases. So who wants to get started? So we've got 6 new releases coming today. Let's see if I can remember and get the right hand in. Oh, almost. So let's get started. Good afternoon, Pat. So here we go. This is the first of the new releases for this year of stamps. So this is Corner Lilies. So they get 2 individual stamps in here. So you get one slightly smaller, because I know lots of people have now started to go to the smaller 6-inch cards. Hi Lynn, hi Mum. And then obviously the larger one here. These are our $9.99 sets, so they are roughly 6 by 4, and they're all 6 are this size. And it's been a while since we've done this. Good afternoon, Teresa. Hi Sue, hi Tracy. Then we have Floral Infinity. I'm going to come a little bit closer. I think it might be easier. We'll go back to that floral Corner Lilies again so you can see. Oh, there we go. I'll try and not bounce it off. So obviously, as I said, it's 2 individual stamps and you get all the detail on there ready to roll. Then we have Floral Infinity, which I've designed so it's nice to colour in. Hi Maddie. And then we have Forget Me Not Flourishes, which again is a really nice one to colour in. Hi Betty. Hi Diane. A Flower Fields, which is one of the ones I'm going to be playing with today. Then we have Butterfly Dreams, which I love. I've had really good fun playing with this one today. And again, we'll be using this. And last but not least, we have some new sentiments. Now, those eagle-eyed of you will realise that this is not a stamp, it's just a copy of our insert, because the stamps haven't arrived here yet. They were due in, and they've been slightly delayed on this one. So this one is our new sentiments. We've been in need of some new sentiments for a little while, so hopefully you'll all love these. It says, happy birthday. Hope this year is your best one yet. Celebrate your day. Make a wish. Birthday wishes. And hope your day is fabulous. And a couple of different fonts for us as well. So let's bring that in so you can see. Happy birthday. Da, 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 da. Make a wish. Birthday wishes. There we go. Oh, went completely out of focus. Spin it round. Okay. So that is our 6 new releases. Let me know what you think. So today, as I said, I'm going to endeavour to do 2 cards, which is a bit of a risk for me, isn't it? Hi Sue, hi Teresa, hi Jan, hi Margaret, hi Helen. And look, Helen's on our design team, and even the design team haven't got their hands on these yet because they literally arrived last thing last night and didn't get to the post. So even there, although they've had a sneak peek, it's even new to them. So the first card we are going to do is Flower Fields. So that's using our new Flower Fields stamp, which is this one. Glad you like them, Teresa. You're the first one to comment. So we have an 8x8 card. We also have the black card stock in where are we? 7 3/4 inch square. Then we have 3 extra pieces. Hi Linda. Hi Veronica. Glad you like them, Teresa. I think I've already answered you there. So white cardstock is 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. Black is 4 5/8. I know you hate me and the apes, but I only want that really little border around the edge. And so it's 4 5/8 by 5 5/8. And then the white piece we're going to be using is 4 1/2 by 5 1/2. So you're going to kind of get the idea of what we're doing here. You'll also need some scraps for a sentiment. I've just printed one out here because obviously we haven't received the stamps in yet, but you'll get the idea of what we were going to do. So just hang on to all your little bits and pieces and all your scraps that you're using, that you cut off throughout your thing. In fact, I'm going to give you the other measurements as well, and then I can put this all to one side. So you're going to need some vellum. You don't need a big piece. This is just one of my offcuts. Excuse my nails. I forgot to bring my red nail polish, and these are all shellac nails. And this one decided to just peel off on me, and I forgot to bring the red one to top it up, to cover it up. So it's all real here. So we have the 8 by 8 card, and then this is a 7 1/2 inch square and a 7 1/4 inch square. So nothing too difficult. For some reason I seem to have, yeah, I thought all the comments had stopped, but I think you're all just going to wait and watch. So the products we are using today, good grief, I've got so much going on here today, it's mad. Right, so we will be, and this is for both cards, obviously not all of it is used on both cards. This is over the 2 cards. So we have Onyx Black VersaFine, we've got Versamark ink, we have a blending brush, we've got the anti-static bag. Now that's quite important for one of these cards. We're going to be using Kitsch Flamingo because, as somebody mentioned at the Lee show at the weekend, I hope you had a good day at the show. That's funny, Teresa, that you mentioned that just as I mentioned it. It was lovely to see everybody at Lee last weekend, and it was quite a busy day. So if I didn't get time to chat to you, I apologise. But somebody did mention at Lee that I'd gone off pink a bit. I wasn't using it very much, so I thought we need some pink back in our lives. Hi Emma, glad you could join us. Hi Tina. So the embossing powders we're using white and white opal on one of them, and we're using crystal clear on the other. Obviously we've got our glues. My phone angle is slipping on us today, which is not ideal, so I might be ending up working at full arm's length. We've got the glue in the 2 different sizes. We have Zig Clean Colour Real Brush pens in red, light blue, yellow green and yellow. They're the colours I'm using, but again, you don't have to use those particular colours, or you don't have to use those particular pens if you don't want to. We've got some vellum, which we do in-house, and then we have obviously our white cardstock, and I forgot to grab the black, but we also do a black as well. The white comes in 250 GSM or 300 GSM. Now we shall move all of this out of our way, hopefully without dropping it all, because I'm quite good at that. Pop all that to one side. Keep the bits I need. And we will get started. So as I said, we're going to start with the Flower Fields one, and actually this is the only piece of card that we're actually going to be doing anything on. The rest is our matting and layering, and obviously, as I said before, I just printed out a sentiment because our stamps haven't quite arrived in time. So you're just going to be using up all your scraps really when it comes to matting and layering your sentiments. So let's get the right colours out. I purposefully put these away separately so that I wouldn't mix and match the colours, because you don't want to put crystal clear where you want white. Put the bits that I don't need for this card out of the way because there's enough going on this table. So we will start with our Flower Field stamp. Now there's a couple of things I want to remind you about. Flower Field stamp is one big stamp. So when you put it on and when you take it off your block, roll it. It will make sure no air bubbles get in there, and it will sit completely flat. And I haven't cleaned it from earlier, so I'm cautious not to get my fingers on there too much. So roll it onto your block. Also, when you're taking it off the carry sheet, don't just rip it off in one big piece. Roll it off your carry sheets. It just means you're looking after your stamp a little bit better than just tearing it apart. So we are going to ink our stamp up, lots and lots of little light taps. Now remember, there's quite a lot of detail in the middle here, so be prepared. Make sure you put plenty of ink on there, because although it doesn't look like a very busy stamp, it's got quite a lot of going on in the middle. So make sure you put plenty of ink on there. Now for me, it's easier to turn it round and do it this way, but it's entirely your choice. Centre that where you want it to be, go straight down. And again, it's a big stamp, so make sure you give it enough pressure all over that you get all those nooks and crannies, and to get a clean, crisp image. So this is the Onyx Black, but you can do this in any ink that you like. Got our clean, crisp image. We're going to get that crystal clear embossing powder on there as quickly as we can. And remember, crystal clear isn't particularly embossing friendly. Oh, sorry, Versamark isn't particularly embossing powder friendly. It dries quite quick, and don't give it that usual really big flick. Just a light tap will take your excess off. Otherwise, you'll take all of that powder off, and you don't want to do that. Your excess away, and then we are going to heat this. Now those of you that have listened to me before know that I say this every time and know what I mean. I am going to heat my heat gun up, and then I'm going to heat from underneath, and the reason we do that is because it gives it a smoother finish, and also because I'm colouring this in, and embossing powder and VersaFine ink are not the best of friends. You need to put a barrier really between your heat gun and your powder, so that it doesn't jump about. Now one thing I didn't mention earlier when I showed you our new stamps is they are available on our website right now. They have just been released. They will be here in a couple of days, so don't expect us to deliver it out instantly. I think it's next Wednesday or Thursday we will have them in, but they are available to order now, and some of you have already sneakily found them during the day today, so we are on quite low stock levels on our original order already, so be prepared for that. Right, so we are obviously, when you're heating from underneath, it does take a little bit more practice than doing it from on top, but I do think it's worth persevering. So we've heat embossed that. Now now that it's all done, I'm just going to give it a quick once over to try and flatten out the cardstock a little bit, because we've got a few kinks in there. So while it's still warm, just pop some pressure down on there. Whoever missed, hello Elizabeth. It came up first on. No idea. Hopefully you found this anyway, Jasmine. So we'll give it a bit of a wiggle, just to try and flatten that out as much as possible. And then I'm just going to take the Zig pens. Now because I'm not blending, this is just normal super smooth cardstock. If I was doing this and blending the colours out within each themselves, I would definitely have used watercolour card. So this is just super smooth cardstock, nothing special, just our regular super smooth. And all I'm going to do, in fact I'm going to grab a piece of kitchen paper first, because I always forget that bit, and you need this to make sure you don't smudge this everywhere. So we're going to go in, just take our pens, and you don't have to be amazing at this, you don't have to be really cautious, just be careful around the edges. You don't want to go over the lines on the edges, but because you've embossed it, you can scribble over the top and it will resist where the ink, wherever that embossing powder is. The one disadvantage of that, should I say, is that the ink will sit on the top of where it's resisted. So that's why you must not forget to go in and blot, because if you forget to go in and blot, you will regret it, because you know you're going to smudge that right at the very last minute when you're placing it down on your topper. Hi Marianne, hopefully we're going to see you guys in a couple of weeks at Ali Pali. So those of you that are in the south, we are, or wherever you are in the country if you want to join us, we will be at Alexandra Palace for the Craftorama show on Saturday the 11th and Sunday the 12th of March. We're in the same spot we were in last time. There are quite a few more stands, I believe, on this for this show as well, because the last one was a new a new organizer and coming back from COVID, so there's a lot more stands, I believe, this time. But who knows till we get there, hey? But we'll be there, and I'm fingers crossed Mum will be there demoing, which will be really nice, because we haven't had her with us for a while because we've had nobody to look after our Maisie Moo. So my mum has had to step up for us, bless her heart. Will you be bringing out single flower stamps and dies again? Yes, Teresa, we will, but we do still have quite a lot of those from our previous releases. So this was just, we released individual flowers, I think, on the last release, so we didn't do it this time. Hopefully you like these ones too. So as I said, remember, go in, piece of kitchen paper over the top and just blot that, and that will take up the excess ink that has sat on top of that embossing powder, and you'll be quite surprised how much does come off there. And then we're just going to go in and colour in the flowers whatever colour you want. Obviously I'm not going to go in and colour all of these, it'll just give you an idea because I've done one earlier. And I always forget that I've got to talk to people when I'm colouring. I kind of zone out this world. So you get the idea, you're just going to keep building that up and building that up and building that up with all the different colours and whatever colours you want them to be, until you end up with something like so. When that's finished and it's all dry, we're going to start the layering up. Now obviously I've cut this out a little bit before, maybe 10 or 15 minutes to colour that in at tops, unless you want to make it really difficult and really ornate. But I just went with basic colours, and it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to colour it in, that's all. So again, another really quick, easy card. Just making sure my glue's going to work for me, bear with me ladies and gents. So I'm just going to flip this over, pop some glue on the back. So hopefully you heard me over the heat gun when I said to you that these are available on the website already, and a few of you found them this morning. Mother's Day gift to myself. I hope it is. And Teresa, we did manage to get that ink refill that you were looking for as well, so please before you place your order, give me a shout and we can sort that out if you are still after. So that's the topper done. Quick, simple, easy. As I said, to colour it in from start to finish is about 15 minutes maximum. So I've made this quite simple, but we're going to have quite a lot of black showing on this one. So if black isn't something that you're particularly fond of, and I know a lot of people don't like black cards, feel free to change out whatever colours you want. You can colour coordinate it, put pattern paper behind, do whatever you want. It's your card. This is just the way I'm showing you I've done it. Hopefully we will see you then at Ali Pali, and hopefully the other shop just sorted itself out now. Betty, Marianne, are we going to see you at Ali Pali too? Hopefully. place this one down here. Now I've made the fatal mistake of sitting down, which I shouldn't have done, because now it's not going to go on straight. I'm going to place that in the middle there, and then our sentiment is just going to go down on the bottom here. Okay. Now remember, you know what I'm like, I want that card to follow all the way through. So I'm just going to grab that stamp again. Now I'm going to pick the piece that is kind of a bit busy and pop that on the edge here. Yeah. Just to carry it all the way through. We don't want the whole thing on there. Just to take a little bit through. Michelle, I did see you've managed to get tickets for the show, so it'll be lovely to see you. Make sure you come and say hello. Glad you like them all. Oh, Betty, that's sad. We'll miss you. You and Mariana Staples at that show. So it's up to you whether you want to emboss that or not. I'm going to leave it and not colour it in. I'm just going to leave it. Shall I make it pop? I might just really quickly scribble in. Just because the envelopes tend to be a bit thicker and a bit furrier, they're not always so easy to colour. But I will, without embossing it. So, light, steady hand, she says, hopefully. Just pick out a couple of little bits on the flowers. I'm not going to colour the whole thing. And I'm going to end up colouring it all in, you know it, aren't I? Nope, I'm going to stop there. That's where we're going to leave it. And obviously you'd be putting a sentiment in there as well. So that is our first card finished. So quick, so simple, so easy. Remember, carry that image through. It just makes it finished off a little easier. Now my screen has just pinged up and said we have gone to very low stock levels of some of these stamps. So it's been very, very busy. Thank you all very much. We will be getting them back in stock, but it will take us a couple of weeks to do that. So bear with us if we've run out. They will be back, don't panic. So we'll pop that one to one side and we will come in with our next card. Now the next card I'm going to do is a style that you've all seen me do before. But it's a style I really, really enjoy doing. So you have to bear with me. It just shows you the different ways that all of our stamps can be used. An acrylic block would help, Amanda. So we're going to use Butterfly Dreams next. So as I said, remember, don't rip them, roll them. Makes a huge difference to the way you look after your stamps. So with this one you get one large stamp and 3 smaller butterflies. So these 3 butterflies and your dandelion seeds are all connected. You can always mask that if you don't want them all to be connected. That's entirely up to you. Here's one more block. Just one of these dinky little blocks for a dinky little stamp. Pop that all off to one side. I'm going to get rid of all the bits that we don't need for this card. Now the sentiment I'm using on this one is from our Make-A-Wish stamp set. So this one is called, it's Birthday Wishes is the one I'm planned to use with this one. Just because the birthday wishes that came in on that are coming in on the new stamps for where I positioned this didn't quite work. It will make sense to you as we're going along. So I decided I needed a long skinny one. So this is our starting, which is the smaller piece of the 2 cardstock pieces I told you you needed. Again, I'm just getting rid of my other items that are not needed in this one. So we are using Kitsch Flamingo and the large blending brush. Go back to keeping a piece of kitchen paper with you. I don't want to load this brush too heavy and then put it on to the paper, because you will get a smudge which you can eventually smudge out. But so I've popped some ink on there. I'm going to start in the middle and just in circular motions pull that colour out. As I said, this is a style that some of you may have seen me do before. Some of you will have seen it at the shows. Hopefully we'll see you at a different show down South Marianne. And Betty. It'll be very strange to be at Ali Pali without seeing you two guys. I'm glad you liked it, Elizabeth. So it's entirely up to you how dark or light you want this to be. Now, if I wasn't doing this live and I'd been ahead of myself, I would have had another one of these done, but I wasn't today. So I haven't got another one done. So I'm going to go straight in and risk something next. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be even all the way around. I'm going to take my anti-static bag and I'm just going to go all the way over that ink, quite heavy with it if I'm honest, just because I'm going to stamp and emboss on top of this, and fingers crossed. It's one of my favourite colours, Michelle, this Kitsch Flamingo. So we've got Versamark ink, remember my really fun dirty Versamark ink. So we're going to lots and lots. I told you I'd end up working on the very top of this mat, didn't I? Don't know what's going on. I think my stand must have got a little bit loose. How far south do I need to come, Teresa? We did Sandown a couple of weeks back. Well, at least we'll see you at Newbury. And how's that foot doing, Kathy? So we're going to stamp that down. And again, remember it's quite a large stamp, so make sure you give that time for the ink to soak in. Thank you, Marie. I'm glad you liked the stamp. I love it when I bring out new stamps and hear what everybody thinks to them, because quite often they're released on TV and I don't get what everybody's response is, so other than whether you buy them or not. So it's nice to actually hear what you like. So we are going to go in with white. Actually, before I do that, I might put on my little individual butterflies. Now, I normally tell you, take your stamp to your ink to your stamp, not your stamp to your ink. But when it's these tiny little ones, I do tend to do it the opposite way round. Now, depending on how confident you are with your stamping as to whether you go in and do this before or you put your embossing powder on first and then go in and do it afterwards, that's your choice. I'm just going to pop those colours on there now, and I'm going to be super brave and do the sentiment at the same time, and hopefully it'll all work out. If not, I have got one I did earlier. I cheated. Pop that on there. So we now go in with the white embossing powder. Fingers crossed I put enough anti-static bag on there. Oh, my most of it, I think, has come off. So yeah, it worked. I'm going to put the excess back in the pot. Lid back on because I'm really good at knocking those over. Pick up my excess waste. And then again, I'm going to heat this from underneath. So this will be quite difficult for you to see it turn, I think. But basically we're going to melt that powder into a solid. There are a few pieces that the white powder has stuck to, which I'm too late to do anything about now. But as I said, I have got one I did earlier, so we're good. It is best if you can manage to leave that the pink base or whatever colour base you're putting down to dry naturally. It doesn't take very long, maybe 10-15 minutes. Just do it and then go and have a cup of tea, or do the next piece that we're going to do and then come back to stamping the image on there. That might keep you in the room, so to speak. But our white powder is really, really fine. We've been asked recently quite a lot for ultra fine embossing powders. Ours are super fine already, so we don't actually do an ultra fine. And I'll show you. We're going to come in as close as I can, and you can see we're picking up all those tiny little seed heads and each of the individual parts of those seed heads. So hopefully you can see that. So that's the base of our card. Give it a wiggle again while it's still warm. Well, I quite like that your bank account disagrees, Michelle. It means you like them and you've bought them. So pop that to one side, and again we're going to go in with Versamark again onto the vellum. Hi Carol, doesn't matter that you're late, you can go back and watch us if you want to, or we will show you the full collection again at the end. So lots and lots of little light taps again to ink your stamp up. We're going onto vellum. Now be careful with when you stamp onto vellum because it can slip. It's not such a big issue with this because we're actually just stamping it to cut it out, individual pieces out, so it doesn't need to be such a panic. But just a word of caution with vellum, it can do that. And again, we're using that tiny little butterfly, and I'm just literally going to be cutting it out, so I'm just going to fill in any gaps I've got on the vellum to cut those out. I didn't quite stamp that bottom one out properly, hence I've done a few extras on the top there. So this time we are going to be using the white opal embossing powder. Oh, well at least you are out and about again now. Could have been a lot worse, couldn't it? Look, I wasn't concentrating and I took the wrong colour out. I was reading the notes. I'm going to cut that off and we're going to start that again. So, rewind. Pop the crystal clear back in the pot and put it away so that you don't use it, or take it back out of the drawer. Right, we'll try again, shall we? So, Versamark ink. Now I'm going to be super speedy. I'll get the right powder in front of me this time. I even took the other one out of the drawer to use, which was a bit stupid. Well, Sue, if you arrived at 3 o'clock last week, we were long gone. It was a really quick show last week. We're a little bit longer today, but we're doing 2 cards, so. So remember, I'm just filling in any gaps I've got here because we're cutting each individual piece out, so it doesn't matter where you position them. White opal, not crystal clear, white opal embossing powder. So this is the white powder with the glitter in. Give it a good flick. Excess back in the pot. Now when you heat emboss vellum, this is not heat resistant or anything special. It is just regular vellum, and we heat from underneath and we hold it in, or I heat from underneath. You can heat on top if you want to, but you must hold it in the air. That way it allows the heat to travel through, and fingers crossed you won't burn your vellum. Now obviously it's a much thinner paper than the cardstock we've been using, so it will heat up much quicker, and it's therefore melt much quicker. So be aware of that. You'll see it change, and make sure you move away as you're going along. Now this particular card does involve a little bit of fussy cutting, and I know it's not everybody's favourite thing to do, but it is worth the effort. So all I am going to be doing is grabbing a pair of scissors, and we're just going to go in and make myself life as easy as possible. And I tend to go in and cut all the shapes out individually first. I have cut most of these out already, so I'm just going to show you on the big image. Let me move these out of the way. So I'm not going to go in all the nooks and crannies, because you're not going to see how closely you've cut that out. I am not going to waste my time and go around those antennae. We are just going to whip those off. And just cut each individual piece out. So I would do that with all of the individual pieces. I also cut out the seed heads. I'm going to show you the seed heads cut out. Here's the one I did earlier. So I cut the seed heads out, and I didn't cut each individual, but I did do them in little sections. Some of them I've just done 1 or 2, just so that it has a little bit of movement. It doesn't need a huge amount, and I'm just going to lightly curl those up a little bit again, just so it has a little bit of movement when we stick it down on here. It doesn't also have to be stuck exactly in the right place, but if you're like me, and it will cause your brain an issue if I don't, it will be. So we're just going to pop a little bit of glue in the middle there, and we're going to hold that on there, and it will just dry there. It doesn't take very many seconds for that vellum to hold. And again, I've done the same with the bigger one. And if you can see, I've gone in and cut out some of the little pieces in the middle. Again, not perfectly, just to give it a little bit more movement. And also, not all of these are the individuals. We've done some on their own, some as bundles. So just to give it that little bit of freedom. Trying to find that match again. There we go. If you find your vellum is curling up a little bit too much, then just keep your hand on there and hopefully it will stop. Now obviously I've hypnotised you all because you've all gone quiet on me, but I hope you're liking this. As you all know, this is a card style I love making. Might need some tweezers for this bit. I know I had them, but I don't know what I did with them. There they are. So we're just going to take our butterflies, position them on card. Doesn't have to be perfect, remember. And all I literally do is just go in and bend the wings either side of the little body, and I pop the glue down the middle of the body. So the fact that you've cut the antennae off doesn't matter because they're already here on the image. Everybody has gone very quiet. Now, it might sound like a crazy thing to say to you, and not everybody's going to believe me. I think it probably took me about 15 minutes to cut all these elements out. You don't need to spend ages doing it and making sure they're perfect because they're not laying flat. They're not going to be scrutinised within an inch of their lives. You're literally popping a little bit of glue on there. It doesn't need to be perfect. So if you're not the most confident of fussy cutters, it doesn't matter. Because as I always say, if somebody complains about a birthday card I send them that's been made, or a card I send them that's been made, then they won't be getting one next year. And I have gone in and done a couple of these seed heads. I haven't done them all, just because I felt that I needed to carry that sparkly theme through a little bit. But if you don't want to, you don't have to do them. I've just done a couple of them. They are not the easiest to cut. I will confirm that with you. They are not the easiest, but I think it's worth persevering a little bit with them. I think I did 4, and then I think I had enough. So I'm just going to spread those out just so that you do get some of the white ones on there as well, because you need to be able to see them, and there isn't any other way of sticking these down other than to cover the full thing, really. I know I've gone quiet. Ooh, put them in the wrong place. Hopefully that'll dry. We'll ignore that. It's still stuck to me. In fact, we can pretend that there was a butterfly there, can't we? Just in case. Put that extra butterfly where I dropped that one. So that is that. As I say, if you wanted to, you could go in and cut out more of those seeds if you want to. I quite like just doing a few of them. And when you cut them out, you'll understand why. Because they are not the easiest to do, but I do think it's worth taking the time to do that. I'm going to put that to one side just to let that dry. We're going to take our larger piece now, and just like you've seen us do loads of times before, we are going to ink up all the way around the edge. I don't want a solid image, so I haven't loaded loads of ink on there. You can always go back and add more on there. So start off the page and work yourself onto the page. That will hopefully give you a much more even coverage of your ink as you're going around. I'm glad you like it, Carol. It's a style of card that you will see me do quite often, but it's just, I do like quite a clean, simple card, and sometimes I go really fussy, but most of the time there'll be a clean, simple style. So that's it. I've just gone around the edge of that. I would normally soak that up, but I don't when I'm doing something. I'd normally spritz all the spare ink and make a background out of it, but you can't do that today because I haven't got any spare card beside me, and you don't really need to see me do it, really, do you? So that's it, inked up. We're going to stick this onto here. If you wanted, you could go with a really light colour around the edge of this too, but I quite like the stark white for that. Fingers crossed they're all stuck enough for me to tip that upside down. I never stick it on first, because if it goes drastically wrong and you drop something like I did, You only waste one piece of card, not two. I'm going to line that up. So that's your topper and everything all done ready. And your card blank. Actually, before I stick that on there, I'm going to remember what I said. Take that theme through on your cards. So rather than Versamark ink and embossing on here, because the white isn't going to show up hugely, I'm going to pop a little bit of Versamark, a bit of our Kitsch Flamingo on here. Image on there. Again, it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly stamped, perfectly inked, it's just to take that through. So that takes your colour through on your image. And we'll put this on here. Now, I know I cut a few bits out, but I have explained that would probably take you about 15 minutes to cut those out. So we've done 2 cards, shown you all the new products, or the new releases, and shown you what we're going to use to make the cards. And I've made a few technical errors along the way, but that's 2 cards done in what, probably about half an hour. So give yourself an hour to make them, and if you wanted to follow that step by step, you could do those, probably both of those, in an hour, depending on how confident you are with the fussy cutting. So that is our finished card on the Butterfly Dreams. So you can see we've got some dimension on there, but it's not massive. And so that would all flatten down if you wanted to pop that in the post to somebody and just put a little note in there saying, oh, flap my wings or something like that on there to puff it back up once it had been through the post. So hopefully, and in fact, because we put that glue on there, we've got a little bit of dimension on those wishes as well, which is, or seeds, which is quite nice. So that's the 2 cards we've done. Where's that other one? I put it down and I can't see it. There we go. And both so different, but with our new releases. Hopefully you like those. Now I'm just going to clear myself a little space, and then I can show you, go back through with the stamps, the new stamps for you. So put these out of the way. I'm glad you all seem to like that. Right, so let me just pop these bits on here so that you can see where you can go to order them. So these are available on our website now. They're in the news category and in the general stamps category. So we have Flower Fields, which is one big stamp. So I'm going to take that one off because we can't see the whole stamp. So Flower Fields. So you get your individual flowers. So again, you could do what we've just done with the Butterfly Dreams and have your flowers pop up on there, which would be really effective as well. We have Butterfly Dreams that you just seen with the pink card. Forget Me Not Flourishes. And Floral Infinity. And this one's a really nice one for colouring in. You can layer those up. I'm glad we've given you a hint and tip that you like, Emma. Well done. And then we have Corner Lilies. So we have the 2 big stamps here. This one is ideal for like a 6x6, but it's the same image, just made slightly smaller, because I know lots of people are doing smaller cards these days. And last but not least, our new sentiment set, which will be with us very shortly. So we've got Happy Birthday. I hope this year is your best one yet. Celebrate your day, make a wish, birthday wishes, and hope your day is fabulous. Workshop on the 1st of April. I know, hasn't the time flown? Can you believe it's the 1st of March already? So now you get me back. We'll pop that on there again so that those of you that are looking for it can go and find them. So you can find our new stamps on honeydocraft.co.uk. Oh, how come we're seeing the camera in the camera now? I told you it was falling down. Ooh. I'll just hold it up, shall I? Okay, you're going to see the camera in the camera. So they're available on our website now. Another couple of things. We have a very rare weekend at home this weekend. So we've decided to open the shop on Saturday from 9 AM till 12 noon. We've got loads of goodies in here to show you. So if you're local, I know there's a lovely lady that rang me yesterday. She's coming all the way from Grantham to come and see us. So hopefully we'll see you at the weekend. Maybe you'll be able to enjoy the new stamps. Who knows? Yeah, so we're open from 9 till 12 on Saturday the 4th of March. As I mentioned before, we're in at Ali Pali on the 11th and 12th of March, which is a really lovely show. Nice to be somewhere quite local for the weekend. What else do I need to tell you about? Again, we're back here for Facebook Live. Oh, mechanics just coming in to sort out my camera that's hanging over my head. I have no idea what's going on with that, but it's not happy. What was I saying? So Facebook Live, YouTube Live here again next week at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, which is going to be the 7th of March. And I think that's everything. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you to all of those of you that have been onto our website already and bought those stamps. If they have run out, they will be back within a couple of weeks, so don't panic. And those of you that are around, we will see you this Saturday, 9 till 12. In our shop. If you need details on how to find us, please email me at honeydocrafts@gmail.com and I can give you directions. Have a lovely afternoon.